let's start discussing about this area of audit quality, which is one of the current issues. It's a perpetual current issues. Now, you would have come across a lot of exam questions with respect to the audit quality and with respect to the quality control. But believe me, it's going to be examined on a continuous basis because IAASB is very much concerned about the audit quality and many conferences, many seminars, many discussions, many forums are being created in order to discuss about the audit quality. So this is one of the examination article with respect to the audit quality, which discusses various aspects of the audit quality. I'm going to discuss this article so that it can help you when you are preparing for your examination. Now, the first thing that you need to understand with respect to the audit quality is that what exactly do you mean by a quality? So the quality is actually means that when the audit is conducted, when the audit is conducted as per the required standards. So when you conduct an audit in accordance with the required standard or at the desired standard, that is considered to be an audit which is being conducted where the audit quality is being maintained. Now, how exactly do we know that what is the audit quality that we have to maintain? So there are two pronouncements. One of them is ISQC1, which is International Standards on Quality Control 1, and the other one of them is ISA 220. So the ISQC1 actually tells you about the firm-wide quality control, and the ISA 220 actually tells you about the engagement-specific quality control. Now, you need to understand that, as I told you, that when we talk about the quality control, so the quality control would actually be mainly focused about that you conduct your audit in accordance with the desired quality standard. That is majorly, a lot of things are actually covered up, but let me actually have a quick discussion about few things which are discussed with respect to ISA 220. It's about leadership responsibility for quality on audits. So that means whether it comes to your partner, whether it comes to your senior manager, etc., etc. So to what level do they have to ensure that they comply with the quality? That is what you need to consider. Then the next thing is, it talks about the relevant ethical requirements, in particular independence. So the ethical requirements also need to be complied with, also need to be followed if you have to maintain the quality. The third thing is the client acceptance and continuance relationship. The fourth one of them is how the engagement team should be assigned. I mean, like when you assign an engagement team to an audit, you consider a lot of things that would include that the experience, that would include the seniority level and the number of a staff, etc., etc. A lot of people, lot of things need to be considered. The fifth one of them is engagement performance, meaning direction, supervision, review, and audit. So it's very important that how the engagement is being performed, like how constantly it is being monitored and etc. etc. So all these things need to be considered. So when it comes to the audit quality, remember if the audit is conducted as per the desired standard, as per the given standard, that means the audit quality is actually maintained. Now, there are many things that could have an impact upon the audit quality, and the many things that could have an impact upon the audit quality could actually be these things. The number one of them is that at times the audit firms are faced with great pressures and which may lead to compromising the audit quality. So what are those great pressures? The great pressures could be in the form of tight deadlines. That's the one thing. Could be on the form of the restriction on the audit fee, could be with respect to the competency, could be with respect to the ethical dilemmas, and could be with respect to the extent of judgment. These could be the various things which could ultimately lead to the audit quality being compromised. So what are they? They are the tight deadlines, they are the audit fee related issues. The third one of them is competency, the fourth one of them is ethical dilemma, and the fifth one of them is extent of judgment. Now you, as a student, have to make sure that in a given scenario, you as a student have to make sure that in a given scenario, you are able to identify the potential quality issues and how you would overcome them. So let me repeat, what you need to do is that you need to be able to identify as somebody who is attempting the examination, that what exactly are the quality issues that exist and how exactly are we going to be overcoming them. Now let's just try to have a discussion. Now, so what exactly are going to be these things? Let's discuss. The first one of them is the tight deadlines and the restriction on audit fee. So generally speaking, what happens is the audit fees or the tight deadlines could be because the client is pressurizing you. The client is pressurizing you. So what the auditor should do is that should never compromise on the extent of testing to be performed. The second thing is that with respect to the fee, because at times what happens is if there are fee reductions, what the auditor he does is he tries to make the audit exercise to be an efficient one. So you should make sure that rather than making an efficient one exercise, you should ensure that you should withdraw from the audit in case if you think that you will not be able to cover up the cost. The second thing is about the competency. Now, what exactly do you mean by this competency? So what happens is at times the auditors are not technically competent to perform the audit work. That could also have an impact upon the quality. The technical competence could be because of the experience. The technical competence could be because of the supervision. There could be a lot of things that could actually happen that could have an impact. The third thing is the entire code of ethics could actually lead you towards various circumstances, which could be the self-interest threat, which could be the self-review threat, which could be the advocacy threat, which could be the familiarity threat, and which could be the intimidation threat, etc., etc. So the multiple ethical dilemmas could possibly arise. The fourth one of them is the extensive use of judgments. Now what happens is, at times, generally speaking, what happens is that there are various scenarios where the judgment is required. Now, what do you mean by judgment is required? Try to understand. When we talk about the concept of the judgment being required, you could see that when you've got the estimates involved, when you've got the fair valuation involved, when you've got the provisions involved, etc., etc., these are the scenarios where the judgment is required. And in order for an auditor to be able to exercise the judgment, he should be sufficiently experienced, he should have sufficient knowledge, and he should have sufficient understanding. Then he could actually perform the audit better. Otherwise, he's always going to be ultimately compromising upon the his professional skepticism is always going to be compromised. So it's important that the extensive use of judgment requires competency on the part of the auditor. So when you come across a scenario where the audit quality or the quality control needs to be evaluated, so you just need to keep at least these things in mind, which is about the deadline, which is about the fee, which is about the competency, which is about the judgments, which is about the ethical dilemmas, etc., etc. These are the things that you would have to continuously keep in mind. So all the best with a question on audit quality.